The U.S. Air Force uses bombs to plug the Persian Gulf oil leak. And at the Super Bowl, security is super tight. This is the CBS Evening News. Connie Chung reporting. Good evening. U.S. officials have taken dramatic steps to stop the flow of oil into the Persian Gulf, hoping to halt what is becoming the worst spill in history. American warplanes dropped smart bombs on oil pipes in Kuwait. Alan Pizzi explains.
As the oil slick that Saddam Hussein deliberately started continued to spread, U.S. forces set its source on fire by accident. During an attack on Iraqi naval units, the Sea Island oil terminal was hit. Oil experts told the military a fire just might be the best way to stop the oil outflow. So U.S. aircraft set the sights of their laser-guided smart bombs on what oilmen called manifolds, control outlets at onshore oil terminals. General Norman Schwarzkopf said American F-111 fighter bombers hit one at each of two terminals.
And you're looking right through the nose of the guided munition as it's flown straight into the small manifold area to destroy it.
The second strike went as precisely as the first, but there were no guarantees that a military solution would end the problem.
And I'm trying to show you that we try to do it in such a way that we're not out there destroying the entire economy of Kuwait by doing it.
By late today, the fire and the flow of oil were greatly reduced, but the fire was still being fed by oil left in the nearly 13 miles of pipe between the onshore terminal and the offshore loading platform. The latest information had the oil slick moving south along the Saudi coast. The attack was the first time military might has been used to stop an oil slick. But given that Saddam Hussein was the first man to order an environmental disaster, the action will almost certainly not be the last of its kind. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Riyadh.
Officials won't know if the bomb attack will successfully cut off the spigots. For now, the oil continues to move southeast in the Gulf. Scott Pelley reports.
Saddam's latest terror weapon assaulted the beaches of Saudi Arabia today. Saudi officials call it a catastrophe. It is already history's largest oil spill.
It really is a major disaster. Even though the oil covers only less than 0.5% of the total surface area of the Gulf. The area that the oil is covering is where there are 10 major desalination plants.
The oil has broken up into multiple slicks and is moving south. U.S. Navy pilots estimate it is 50 miles long. One concern is the effect of the slick on Saudi Arabia's water supply. Much of the kingdom's water is pumped out of the Gulf and processed through desalination plants. Protective booms are being set up around the plants to keep the oil out.
It happened before, 1984, during the Iranian-Iraqi war, and we have taken certain measures during that time. We installed some booms around our intake mouth, and there was no problem.
While the fresh water may be saved, wildlife is in grave danger. The shallow, confining waters of the Gulf are especially vulnerable to the spill. The Gulf is home to several species of endangered birds.
We are concerned about the ability of these species to survive. Saddam Hussein is waging war on the region's wildlife.
The spill is Iraq's second strike against the oil industry. Last week, the Al Wafra refinery was torched by Saddam's troops. Industry officials say despite this economic terrorism, the world oil supply will not diminish.
We feel quite confident at this time that we will be able to emerge from this incident without any effects on our oil production, processing, or exporting capabilities.
Tomorrow, U.S. environmental experts will arrive here in Saudi Arabia to try to help minimize the damage. But given the fragile waters of the Gulf, it is likely the oil spill will be a continuing assault on the environment long after the last shot of the war. Connie?
Thank you, Scott. In the air war, General Schwarzkopf said 2 U.S. F-15 shot down 4 Iraqi MiG-23s today, southeast of Baghdad. No U.S. planes were lost. And he said a total of 39 Iraqi planes, many of them fighters, are now in Iran. Iran promising to confiscate them until the war is over. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, more on the war, including Tom Fenton on Israeli children heading back to school, toting books and gas masks. And Jacqueline Adams on the new wave of patriotism in America.
adults faces the risk of heart disease from high cholesterol. A diet low in saturated fat and cholesterol with new Fleischmann's Extra Light can help change those odds. Fact is, no leading spread is lower in saturated fat. Another fact, zero cholesterol. And on top of everything, it tastes good. New Fleischmann's Extra Light.
I can really rely on Aspercreme.
Joan McKee suffers from minor muscle pain.
Rub it in here, rub it in good. Aspercreme relieves pain fast, and I don't smell like a medicine cabinet.
Aspercreme, fast pain relief without odor. Aspercreme contains no aspirin.
The same medicine found in the prescription drug Motrin. Same as in Motrin, in non-prescription strength.
If you want the same medicine found in prescription Motrin, wouldn't it just be simpler to ask for Motrin IB? Non-prescription strength Motrin IB. Accept no alternatives.
Hello. I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm having a dinner party and I've run out of coffee.
Come in.
Thank you.
Would Taster's Choice be too good for your guests?
Oh, I think they could get used to it.
Could they?
Yes.
Savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
Have you met your new neighbor yet? Oh, I've popped in for coffee.
Defense Secretary Dick Cheney said today U.S. ground forces will be ready to go after the Iraqi army before the end of next month. Whether there will be an offensive seems no longer in doubt, only its timing, as we hear from Ron Allen at the Pentagon.
Artillery fire was exchanged across the Saudi-Kuwaiti border again today. It seemed like just a prelude of what's to come. U.S. commanders want to avoid it, but it seems clearer now that a potentially bloody ground offensive to free Kuwait is inevitable. U.S. Army tank divisions are rapidly taking positions closer to the front, awaiting a decision that President Bush will make, when to move thousands of soldiers directly in harm's way.
The president is committed to try and do whatever he can to minimize the loss of life. There is no need to draw the conclusion that he's going to rush to that kind of a decision.
A risky military decision that could have severe political consequences.
The American people want a decisive victory. They would prefer to do it without using ground forces.
But after 22,000 sorties by Allied airplanes, the Iraqi army, especially the elite Republican Guard inside Kuwait, remains dug in. Allied bombers continue trying to cut off supplies and communications. But because the Iraqis haven't tried to maneuver, the U.S. isn't sure how much they've been weakened.
We're confident we've had a significant impact, but it's tougher to measure in terms of our assets than knocking down a building, for example.
Iraq is trying to win sympathy by broadcasting pictures of religious sites and civilian neighborhoods allegedly bombed by Allied warplanes. Today, Desert Storm's top field commander angrily insisted U.S. fighter pilots have never hit military targets more precisely in the history of warfare.
We are probably endangering our pilots more than they would otherwise be endangered by following this course of action. We have deliberately decided to do this in order to avoid unnecessary civilian casualties.
Pentagon officials are saying it could take another 2 weeks to get U.S. ground forces up to full strength. Meanwhile, the air bombardment continues, so the U.S. will have the best possible advantage when fighting starts on the ground. Connie?
Thank you, Ron Allen. 3 U.S. Marines were killed today when 2 armored vehicles collided in Saudi Arabia. If and when U.S. troops cross into Kuwait, they'll face a frightful hidden danger, thousands of lethal mines buried in the desert. Juan Vasquez reports.
As the soldiers move ever closer to the Kuwaiti border, the warnings are becoming deadly serious. And nothing is deadlier than landmines. Of all the weapons that ground combat soldiers dread, few evoke greater fear.
Basically, they stop us and keep us fixed in one position and make us very susceptible to artillery.
And Major George Kutchell tells his Marines Saddam Hussein has transformed portions of Kuwait into a vast minefield, a belt 40 miles long across the frontier.
The guy knows what he's doing. He likes landmines. Landmines are there to channelize you and direct you into his killing zone. They have mines like this in abundance. They also have claymores, they have some anti-tanks, and they also have this big popper.
To counter the landmine, the British have developed the Viper. Launched over a minefield, the weapon tows a cord that detonates the mines and clears the way for an advancing army. But all the mines cannot be neutralized. When detected, Major Kutchell warns his men they must be treated with the utmost care.
One of them's got an anti-handling device fused. You put a little mousetrap in there. Some people win the lotto. If you find one of these, you're going to win it. You're going to eat about 14 pounds of explosives. They're not going to find your shoes. They're not going to find nothing.
According to the Marines, Saddam Hussein has placed at least 500,000 mines beneath the soil of Kuwait, a formidable barrier that these forces must breach.
You can't be that scared of them, but at the same time, you got to be cautious. You got to know what you're doing. You got to have a plan.
They've heard this lecture before, but that was back in boot camp. This is the front line, where the difference between prudence and fear can mean the difference between life and death. Juan Vasquez, CBS News, Eastern Saudi Arabia.
Egypt's foreign minister flew to Washington tonight to meet with Secretary of State James Baker. CBS News has been told he will reaffirm Egypt's resolve to stay in the U.S.-led coalition, but he also will push for a conference on the Palestinian question soon after the war. Iraq today threatened to launch lightning attacks on Allied troops and hinted it might use chemical and biological weapons. Iraq also vowed attacks would turn Israel into a dead leaf discarded on the ground. Israeli high school students were open today, schools I should say, for the first time since Iraq began its Scud missile attacks. Students carried a new piece of mandatory schoolwear, as we hear from Tom Fenton. Tom?
Connie, after 6 missile attacks in the last 10 days, the government is trying to reestablish normal life in Israel. Today, schools partially reopened for grades 10 to 12, but it was a far from normal day.
Personalized gas masks worn as shoulder bags were the latest fashion accessory as students returned to school after 10 days. There were hugs and excited talk. Friends were happy not just to see each other, but to see each other alive.
It was very frightening. It's very afraid that I'm going to die.
Few had slept well because of the nightly missile battles.
I heard them, and then I heard the blast, and I was with my father, and I told him, yeah, we hit the Scud missiles, so we were like very happy.
Heard them.
Most were glad to get out of the house.
My grandfather has a bit of a problem wearing the gas mask because it reminds him of the Holocaust.
But half the students didn't show up at this Tel Aviv school.
They are afraid, perhaps.
Part of the day was spent sealing up rooms against a gas attack. The English class was all about civil defense precautions.
Your phone number and your name.
And in the physics class, the teacher explained the formulas for the trajectory of a Scud missile. Everyone paid attention.
This war teaches us more than any other war that technological superiority is the most important things nowadays.
It's American technology that is defending Israel in its nightly battle against the Scuds. The American servicemen who manned the Patriot missiles alongside Israeli crews were reloading their launcher today, preparing for another night. 4,000 Israeli homes have been damaged or destroyed. 4 persons have died and more than 200 have been hospitalized so far. And the Israeli government warns that the end is not yet in sight. Tom Fenton, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
Rebels in Somalia apparently are in control of the country tonight. They reportedly seized the presidential palace and airport in the capital of Mogadishu. Longtime President Mohamed Siad Barre is reported to have escaped in a tank, but his whereabouts are not known.
Did you know only 1-800 service is guaranteed if something keeps you from getting calls? Only AT&T automatically protects you with our 800 assurance policy. Now we can reroute your 800 calls faster than ever, in 30 minutes or less. 800 calls that get through. Another AT&T advantage.
If this is a cold, this is the flu. Cold. Flu. When you've got more than a cold, you need Metaflu. Flu strength relief from 4 strong medicines. For more than a cold, for the flu, Metaflu.
Red Lobster introduces something new, something delicious. It's our specially priced new Shrimp Sensations dinner, just $7.99. With the tang of succulent new shrimp Veracruz. And the flair of zesty new Parmesan fried shrimp, together with popcorn shrimp. All this just $7.99 for a limited time. but only at Red Lobster. So hurry.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you.
The same medicine found in the prescription drug Motrin.
Same as in Motrin, in non-prescription strength.
If you want the same medicine found in prescription Motrin, wouldn't it just be simpler to ask for Motrin IB? Non-prescription strength Motrin IB. Accept no alternatives.
Operation Desert Storm is running up bills in the tens of billions of dollars. If you're wondering who's going to pick up the tab, you're not alone. Here's White House correspondent Randall Pinkston.
The Bush administration today began outlining a plan to deal with the financial costs of the Gulf War, revealing, perhaps by accident, a hard estimate on the cost of Operation Desert Storm. $50 billion for fiscal year 1991.
That was what was estimated. I don't have a current estimate of what it is going to cost, but the current numbers fall consistent with the original estimate.
The war's enormous cost, Sununu insisted, will not lead to a new war tax.
No, I think there are some on the Hill that are looking for any excuse to raise taxes, but the president is opposed to that.
Some in Congress worry that American taxpayers will get stuck with too much of the bill.
America may wake up to find that Allied contributions to Desert Storm were too little, too late.
Today, White House Budget Director Richard Darman stressed that the administration is satisfied with Allied financial support.
We have foreign contributions already committed of $45 billion. So I don't think those are real. Those are firm. And they've been delivered to this point on schedule. So
While Darman puts the finishing touches on the budget, which is due next week, President Bush continued work on Tuesday night's State of the Union address. It's expected to focus on the Gulf War and the president's domestic agenda, including proposals on education, crime, housing, and civil rights. But because of the war, Republican congressional leaders who met with Mr. Bush last week say there will not be any new costly initiatives.
Whenever you have another dimension as big as you do a war and what it costs, obviously it has to have some bearing upon domestic programs that otherwise would be fully funded.
Aside from the domestic agenda, the President's State of the Union address is expected to deal with U.S. resolve to complete the war and progress in the war in the Gulf. Connie?
Thank you. Randall Pinkston at the White House. The Super Bowl in Tampa, Florida today features what must be the most awesome defensive line in the history of football. Not on the field, around the stadium. Bruce Hall reports.
It's the tightest security ever for a sporting event in the United States, as fans made their way through fences, concrete barriers, and long lines.
I think that America should not stand in fear. I think we should just go forward with our lives and the heck with the man. He's sick jerk. I say slam Saddam.
Every ticket holder, all 74,000, were checked and scrutinized as they entered Tampa Stadium this afternoon.
Once you're in, you're in. You never get out.
Each box, each case was opened. Technical items were x-rayed. Every precaution was taken on the ground, and in the skies, authorities hovered above the stadium in helicopters.
All of life has risks, and I don't think there's any big risk here.
The mood was a little less jovial than usual, but the fans wanted to put aside their worries about the war, at least for a few hours.
Super Bowl souvenirs here!
Even the souvenirs are different this year. Desert Storm t-shirts, license plates, and the biggest seller, the American flag.
The terrorists are trying to disrupt our lives, not only by the actual acts of terrorism, but by the fear of the acts of terrorism. And we shouldn't give in to that. The best way to fight it is to go about our business.
And that is exactly what's happening. Business as usual. The fans turned out in force, and the game is going ahead. Bruce Hall, CBS News, Tampa.
Ford profiles in quality, customer satisfaction.
Today we realize that quality's got to be number one.
I said that back in '82, and today it's truer than ever.
The looks attracted me, but the performance sold me.
After 2 years, it still shines like new.
We love hearing things like that. The only thing better than a Sable
is two Sables.
Our goal is to build the highest quality cars and trucks in the world.
At Ford Motor Company, quality is job one.
Oh, this is classic. To take our care of ourselves, I get us the K3 Cycle of Life. And what's your contribution? Waffles. Golden. Delicious. Waffles.
Eggo Nutri-Grain waffles.
Okay, Nutri-Grain
Made
waffle,
with the
but-
whole grain.
Yes, fine.
No preservatives, no sugar added.
Hey, these are nutritious.
Eggo Nutri-Grain waffles, also in delicious multi-brand.
Honey, I knew your contribution was just as important.
Ron, Lego my ego.
Yeah.
In art, taste is subjective, but in life, good taste is well defined. Fancy Feast gourmet cat food, exceptionally moist and delicious. Fancy Feast. Good taste is easy to recognize.
If your doctor has recommended Metamucil and you like the results, but you don't like those glasses of thick liquid, change to FiberCon. Get the same fiber action in easy-to-swallow tablets. Get doctor-recommended FiberCon.
A major show of support for American servicemen and women in the Persian Gulf today. College students tied a yellow ribbon around two entire cities, Reno and Sparks, Nevada. The ribbon is a record 23 miles long. Organizers said they want the troops to know they have not been forgotten. Yellow ribbons and American flags are on display all over the country these days, symbols of a resurgence of patriotism touched off by the war. Jacqueline Adams reports.
Since the first U.S. jets began bombing Iraq, America has gone red, white, blue, and yellow.
You cannot keep yellow in this store, anything with yellow. If we ran out of the ribbons, they went and got plastic tablecloths, cut them in strips, and they were hanging those out.
The phones haven't stopped ringing, the fax machine hasn't stopped coming in with orders, and it's unprecedented, is the only way to put it.
During the Civil War, the color was green, and later white. But since the Iran hostage crisis of a decade ago, yellow ribbons have come to symbolize remembrance and caring, so much so that Raymond Klein's ribbon factory can't produce enough of it.
And I believe it's a lot of people are very much wanting to tell our troops, the men and women, that we are supporting them and hope that they'll come home safely.
Amid the ribbons and flags, though, you can also see plenty of signs of anger.
Letting them know that he doesn't mess with the wrong people now.
Historians say symbols are a time-honored way of broadcasting one's feelings.
What I think we're seeing now is people who are beginning to try to figure out how to express their sentiments and themselves in ways that that can be sort of comprehended on a large scale basis.
So whether it's Saddam Hussein toilet paper or flag-bedecked football gear or a handmade billboard in a Louisiana industrial park, Americans are creating a new language of patriotism and unity. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, New York.
Now recapping today's developments in the Persian Gulf, U.S. warplanes bomb pipeline controls to stop the flow of Kuwaiti oil into the Persian Gulf. And Defense Secretary Cheney said the allies will be ready to launch a ground attack by the end of next month. One final note. About 20 or 30 Iraqis holed up on a Kuwaiti island are apparently trying to give up. A U.S. Navy plane flying overhead spotted a message spelled out with stones. It read, SOS, we surrender. And that's our news. We'll keep you informed throughout the night with any late developments. Dan Rather will be here tomorrow night, and Bill Plant will be here later with the CBS Sunday Night News. I'm Connie Chung in New York. I'll see you again next Sunday night. Thank you for joining us, and for all of us at CBS News, good night.
Smith.
And I'm Paula Zahn. Wake up to the latest news from the Middle East.
Our special coverage from the Gulf continues tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
This is CBS.
Next on News Channel 5's Weekend Report, the U.S. military takes action and starts a fire to stop the oil flowing into the Persian Gulf. A gasoline tanker overturns on I-65, shutting down the interstate and spilling gas into a nearby creek. Realtors say low interest rates are luring in buyers for new homes, but the sale of existing homes is another story. Those stories, plus a stash of stolen weapons and yellow ribbons for our troops in the Saudi desert. The Weekend Report is next.
In the fast pace of the competitive 90s, the need for well-trained tractor-trailer drivers continues to grow. Just sit back and watch.
Commercial Driver Institute.
All across America.
Want you to test drive your new career? Call toll-free 1-800-242-SEMI and make the money you've always wanted. With hands-on experience and guidance from CDI's qualified instructors, you'll be on your way to becoming an